Today, I can tell you in our investment team or in our assets, approximately around 20% would be women investors. And the industry number may be slightly less than that or slightly more than that. We'll have to check and get that to you, but it's not a high number, right? Now, why is that? There's no real logical reason why that number should be so low. So we want to try and increase. And if you look at the percentage or those numbers in rural India, they're non-existent. They're much lower, significantly lower, right? That is also just generally mutual fund awareness in Bharat, so to speak, is much lower than it is in the tier one cities. So then if you look at women investors in there, it's much lower. So that's essentially what we are trying to do with this drive from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, is to raise the awareness. So we're doing investor awareness programs specifically focused on women in rural India, right? So we've done about 16 cities. This is our 17th city in India, or I should say on this drive. We've covered about 3,200 kilometers so far, and we've met over 3,500 investors. The majority of which, around 95% of them, have been women. So that's essentially been the focus on it. Let's take a look at that a little differently, right? If I look at the number of women that are in the workforce today, it is now coming up to nearly 50% of the workforce, right? If you look at what is the future potential, right? So you look at the number of students in colleges, the number of women students that are in the colleges have gone up. If you look at STEM classes, right, which is science, technology, engineering, and math, the number of women that are in those kind of courses or those kind of colleges has also gone up significantly. So it's at around 48% the last time we had data for, which is in 2022-24. And if you look at that, if you're seeing more women come into this, at some point, your number of women in the workforce increases, which means they're earning. They need to take control of their own financial well-being, right? They need to be financially independent. And that is essentially why we believe this drive will continue to increase the awareness and hopefully increases that percentage. You asked if there is how much do we think it'll increase? Our hope is that within the next 5 to 10 years, we double the number of women investors that are taking responsibility for their own financial well-being. The average value, so we've not looked at exactly what the numbers are, but your assumption would be right, especially because if we're looking at rural markets, the value is much lower anyway. For us, our average value of investment is a little higher than the industry average. But that's just because we tend to be a little more focused on the cities.